Well, hello everybody, and welcome to a little game called Satisfactory. Now, this right here will be a guide on how to maximize your efficiency, so that way you are not stuck running one factory into one thing and getting like 0 resources per 500 years. With this guide you will be making hundreds and hundreds every time you go to check this. As if I go check this container right here, though, probably got a few thousand plates in there, I can't be bothered to count. So you may say, oh wow, how do you do this? What did you do? Just sit here and place things all day until it worked out? No. With a bit of thinking and a little bit of know-how around the game's mechanics, you too can be efficient with anything. So now this thing, if you notice, it makes 60 of them a minute. See, it's mining, takes a little bit of power, 1 second per iron ore, it's running at 100% efficiency. Now this efficiency meter is great and all, and I'm sure you probably could use it. But for those of you who don't want to sit here and look at that efficiency meter, though admittedly I probably should, there is a very easy way to do this. So, you see how this produces 60 iron ores a minute. This smelter takes in 30 iron ores in a minute. Well, this, you may say, what about this number here? Well, this number will be important in a minute, but for now, just look at this one on the left. It takes in 30 iron ores a minute, but he produces 60 a minute, which means that the miner is producing twice the amount that the smelter needs. So you might think, oh, too bad, what a waste of iron ore. No, my friend, you see, with the grandiose conveyor splitter, in other words, the key to maximizing your efficiency, do make sure to get this upgrade near the start, I love it. But with this, you can actually split that 60 iron ore in a minute into 2 paths of 30 iron ores a minute. Now already we have doubled our efficiency, but nay, it does not stop there. For now, you see, this number is now important, for this is the output. It outputs 30 iron ingots a minute. Now, this one takes in 30 a minute. It produces 20 a minute, but it takes in 30 a minute, which means that you can only run one of these smelters into the constructor. That one is pretty simple, admittedly. And then we come along here with all of our iron plates being produced, and then we merge them into one, and then we put them into here. Now, for a better example of smelters to constructors, let's go to the iron rods. This one's a bit more complicated, admittedly, so I will start from the beginning. So, as we all know, the miner goes into here. Takes in 30 a minute, yes, and then produces 30. So everything is the same for the smelters. Where it gets different is with this. Instead of putting one smelter into one constructor, the 30 iron ingots it produces will be split up into 2 streams of 15 iron ingots per minute, which will go into these constructors as they need 15 a minute. And then they will produce 15 iron rods a minute, which is very good, very, very good. And then we take all of them rods and we merge these 2 constructors into the 30 a minute stream, and merge those 2 into a 30 a minute stream. We merge those 2 into a 60 a minute stream, and we use this little conveyor here as a bit of a buffer in case we ever get an overflow, so that way they will store in here rather than the whole machine stops running. Now this admittedly is where it gets complicated. So it will go into this splitter. Half of them, or 30 a minute, will just be plopped into iron rod storage. Now as you can see, that number goes up nicely. The other 30 a minute will be split into this constructor, and this constructor. And all of these constructors take 10 rods a minute, which admittedly we probably have just about enough to fuel them all. Okay, this one is overflowing, I guess, because these will take in 10 rods a minute and produce 40 screws a minute. Now you may say, those 30 iron rods a minute, so you might have already guessed this, but for those of you who haven't figured it out yet, this is 60, that's 30, so this is the other 30. And there's 3 constructors and each need 10 a minute. So this 30 will slowly be divided, maybe slightly unevenly, because these splitters aren't the smartest tools in the shed, but it will be divided relatively evenly. which means that 30 divided by the 3 constructors, we shall now have enough to produce all of them. Now the only problem with that is that this one, this splitter right here is not the sharpest tool. And it decides, you know what, I'm going to split it completely evenly, like everything else obviously, but I do kind of wish you could configure these to make one stream the exact amount you wanted, and the other stream you could want. You know what, if anyone who makes Satisfactory ends up ever watching this in their entire lives, please consider that, or maybe I'm missing something and you can do that. Is there a Mark II upgrade to these? Well, I will figure that out much later. So these 15 a minute, these 15 a minute. That's why that one overflows a little bit and you get more rods in there. But you know, if you every now and then come to check and you just stick some more rods in here, this one gets the least, this one gets the second least, and this one gets the most. Now the reason this one currently has more in it is because I literally just gave it a bunch of rods from that one. But they will all produce screws at a rate of 40 a minute. Now that is because one rod goes into 4 screws. So as you can see, they are literally producing so many screws that we simply cannot comprehend the amount of screws they are producing. There will be slight little gaps in between, but when you have so many screws, does it really matter? This one, however, is a constant stream, with this acting as a small buffer, but it will be constantly going into here, and there is so many screws. There are too many screws. One never needs this many screws. And as you can see, I have thousands upon thousands of screws all of a sudden. Go. Oh, right, speaking of that, these are very useful when you're building stuff. Now I know what you're thinking, this is a guide on efficiency. What does this have to do with building? Well, the more efficiently you can plan out your builds, the more efficiently you can build them, and the less time you have to spend constructing stuff, and the more time you can spend looking over at your glorious factory as it produces so many things. Ignore that over there, that is a failure that I am working on, but with this done and you all educated in the ways of efficiency, I think it's about time to wrap this up. So good day, be efficient, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.